stepped out of the car. "I'm going to take a chance," she murmured, her heart pounding with every step toward the convention center entrance. Inside, the atmosphere buzzed with excitement and anticipation. The walls were adorned with colorful banners promoting body positivity and self-acceptance. Mia's breath caught in her throat as she spotted Natalie on stage, her confident presence radiating warmth and strength. The audience was captivated, hanging on her every word. Mia settled into a seat at the back, her heartbeat echoing in her ears as she listened to Natalie recount her journey, how she had learned to love herself despite the world's harsh judgments. Each story Natalie shared felt like a thread weaving itself into Mia's own narrative, a reminder that vulnerability could lead to empowerment. "Remember, your worth is not determined by your size," Natalie said, her voice ringing with conviction. "You are more than what anyone else thinks of you. You are a force of nature." Mia felt tears prick her eyes. Each word resonated, igniting a long-buried hope. She was not alone. There were others out there fighting the same battles, and they were winning. As the crowd erupted into applause, Mia's heart raced with an unexpected surge of courage. Then came an unexpected twist. "I want to invite someone special to join me on stage," Natalie announced, scanning the audience. "Mia, if you're here, I'd love for you to come up." Mia's breath hitched, eyes wide in disbelief. How did she even know her name? She felt a mix of fear and exhilaration surge through her, the weight of 1,000 eyes suddenly upon her. There was no turning back now. The crowd parted as she made her way to the stage, her heart pounding like a drum. Natalie smiled warmly, and the audience erupted into cheers. "This is Mia, and she's a warrior," Natalie said, her voice filled with sincerity. "Let's give her some love." As the applause washed over her, Mia felt the oppressive weight of shame begin to lift. In that moment, she realized that she was more than just a body in a car. She was a woman with a story, a journey waiting to be shared. The humiliation from earlier felt like a distant memory, overshadowed by the overwhelming acceptance surrounding her. Standing beside Natalie, Mia felt a spark ignite within her, a desire to embrace her truth, to turn her struggles into strength. She took a deep breath, looked out at the sea of faces, and smiled, ready to step into her power. In that moment of connection, Mia understood that her next chapter was waiting to be written, and she was ready to embrace it with open arms. No longer defined by someone else's words, she was ready to reclaim her narrative and inspire others along the way. As the applause reverberated in her chest, she knew she had made the choice that would change everything. Mia's heart raced as she stepped onto the stage, each clap of applause echoing like a drumbeat in her ears. The energy in the convention center was electric, but she felt like a lightning rod standing in front of a storm. Natalie's warmth radiated beside her, but the eyes of the audience bore down on Mia, a mixture of encouragement and expectation that sent her pulse racing. "Everyone, this is Mia," Natalie announced, her voice a soothing balm over Mia's anxiety. "She's here to share her journey with us." The crowd erupted into cheers again, and though Mia's instinct screamed for her to retreat, something deeper, a budding sense of purpose, urged her forward. She opened her mouth, but the words caught in her throat. What could she possibly say that would resonate with this sea of faces, especially after the humiliation she had just endured? "Take your time," Natalie whispered, squeezing her hand gently. "You're safe here." Mia took a breath, grounding herself in the warmth of Natalie's reassurance. "A few hours ago, I was just an Uber driver," she started, her voice trembling but growing steadier with each word. "I faced a lot of judgment, a lot of fat-shaming, and honestly, it nearly broke me." She paused, scanning the crowd for empathy, and found it reflected back in the nods and soft murmurs of understanding. "But then I met Natalie, and she reminded me that my worth isn't defined by my size or by a stranger's cruel words. I realized I have a choice, to let those moments of shame define me, or to rise above them." Her voice grew stronger as she spoke, the fear giving way to an emboldened spirit. "And I choose to rise." As she shared her story, an unexpected wave of connection swept through the audience. She spoke of her struggles, the way the fat-shaming had seeped into her confidence, the hours spent in silence, battling her insecurities. Each revelation felt like a release, a shedding of the weight she'd carried for too long. But as she spoke, a familiar face emerged from the crowd, a figure she recognized all too well. The passenger from earlier, the one who had made her question her worth, stood at the back, arms crossed, a look of disdain etched on their face. The sight sent a cold wave of dread through Mia. She hesitated, the momentum of her speech faltering as the reality of the moment hit her. Would this person's judgment silence her again? Or could she confront her past and reclaim her narrative once and for all? "Let me ask you something," Mia said, her heart pounding in her chest as she locked eyes with the passenger. "What gives you the right to judge someone else's worth?" The audience fell silent, every eye now on her. "I'm not here to ask for your approval. I'm here to embrace who I am, flaws and all." The passenger shifted uncomfortably, and for the first time, Mia felt a swell of empowerment wash over her. "I used to let people like you determine my self-worth," she continued, her voice steady and resolute. "But I'm done with that. I'm reclaiming my story, and I refuse to let anyone's words dictate how I see myself." The audience erupted into applause, and Mia felt buoyed by their support. In that moment, the fear that had once gripped her heart began to dissolve, replaced by an unwavering sense of purpose. She wasn't just speaking for herself anymore. She was speaking for anyone who had ever felt less than because of their body. But the confrontation wasn't over. As she finished her speech, Mia felt a surge of vulnerability. "I forgive you," she said, her voice ringing out, turning toward the passenger. "Not for you, but for me. Holding on to that hurt only weighs me down." With those words, Mia felt a weight lift from her shoulders, an urgency to heal that she hadn't anticipated. The audience erupted into a standing ovation, their cheers echoing in her heart like a promise of solidarity. As she stepped down from the stage, Natalie embraced her tightly. "You did it, Mia. You found your voice." But as the applause faded, another thought crept in. Would the passenger's cruelty linger in her mind? Or could she continue to rise, fueled by the empowerment she had just discovered? The stakes had shifted. This was no longer just about her journey. It was about the countless others who faced similar battles. "Let's create something together," Natalie said, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "We can host workshops, share our stories online. We can build a community of support." Mia nodded, the idea igniting a fire within her. "Yes," she said, her voice stronger than ever. "Let's help others embrace their truth too." As they joined the audience, Mia felt an exhilarating rush of hope. The moment had transformed her, and together with Natalie, she was ready to turn that hope into action, a movement of love, acceptance, and resilience. The journey was just beginning, and for the first time, she felt ready to embrace every part of it. The applause echoed in her ears, a wave of sound that enveloped Mia like a warm embrace. Her heart raced, a chaotic mix of exhilaration and disbelief. She had stood on that stage, bared her soul, and confronted her insecurities in front of a crowd that had rallied around her. But even as the cheers rang out, a nagging voice in the back of her mind whispered doubts. Mia stepped off the stage, her pulse still racing. She could feel the electric energy in the air, but the sight of the passenger from earlier lingered like a shadow at the edge of her vision. The disdain etched on their face was a sharp reminder of the words that had cut her deep just hours ago. Would they spread their negativity? Would they try to undermine her newfound confidence? "Hey, you okay?" Natalie's voice broke through her thoughts, concern lacing her expression. I can't shake the feeling that they'll try to ruin this," Mia admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "What if they go online and twist my story? What if they try to drag me back into that darkness?" Natalie placed her hands on Mia's shoulders, grounding her. "You can't let them control your narrative. You've taken a huge step today, and it's time to own it. You have a voice, and it's powerful." Mia nodded, but the urgency of the moment pressed down on her. She had the audience's support, but she needed to solidify her journey. "What if I share my experience with everyone here? I want them to know that they're not alone, that we can rise together. But I also want to address that passenger directly. I want them to see the consequences of their words." Natalie's eyes widened, a spark igniting in her expression. "That's it. Let's build on this momentum. We can create a social media campaign, a video sharing your story. But you need to do it now, while the energy is still high." Mia felt a rush of determination. "You're right. I'll speak to everyone in the audience and capture their reactions. This is our moment to shine, to show that we're not afraid of negativity and that we're choosing self-love." The clock ticked away, the urgency of the moment pressing closer. There was no time to waste. "Let's head back to the stage," Mia said, her voice steady as purpose bloomed within her. "I want to take a stand right now." As they walked back toward the stage, Mia felt the weight of the moment settle over her like a cloak. She was stepping into a role she had long denied herself, the role of an advocate, a voice for those who felt silenced. But it was also personal. She needed to confront her demons, to reclaim her narrative once and for all. When they reached the platform, she took a deep breath, feeling the crowd's energy swell around her once more. "Can I have everyone's attention again?" she called out, her voice cutting through the chatter. The audience quieted, curiosity etched on their faces. "I want to share something with you all, something raw and real. I faced body shaming today, and it hurt deeply, but I refuse to let that define my worth. I want to talk about how words can impact someone's life, sometimes in ways we don't even realize. And I want to address that directly." A hush fell over the crowd, anticipation hanging thick in the air. Mia locked eyes with the passenger, who wore a look of discomfort but didn't look away. "You may not know it, but your words have power. They can lift people up or tear them down. Today, I choose to rise. I forgive you, not for you but for me. And I invite everyone here to join me in this journey of self-love and acceptance." The audience erupted into applause again, but this time, it felt different. It was a collective acknowledgement of shared struggles and the courage to step into the light. As she finished speaking, Mia felt the weight lift from her shoulders, replaced by a profound sense of agency. She had turned the pain into a rallying cry, an invitation for others to join her in redefining their narratives. But the stakes were still high. She needed to act quickly to harness this momentum before it faded, before the passenger's words could take root in someone else's heart. With her voice steady and her heart open, Mia turned to Natalie, her spirit ignited with purpose. "Let's capture this moment. Let's create a video and a campaign that speaks to everyone who's ever felt judged. Let's show them the power of our stories." "Absolutely." Natalie beamed, her excitement palpable. "We'll make this a movement. Together, we'll ensure that no one feels alone in their journey." As they began to discuss the details, Mia felt the clock ticking down, each second a reminder that this was just the beginning. She was ready to confront not just her own insecurities but to build a community of resilience, to challenge negativity head-on, and to remind everyone that love, acceptance, and empowerment could bloom even in the harshest of environments. The moment was now, the countdown had begun, and Mia was ready to seize it, to turn her pain into purpose, and to rise together with others who needed it most. Mia stood at the edge of the stage, the applause still reverberating in her ears. The audience's cheers had momentarily drowned out her fears, but as she locked eyes with a passenger who had fat-shamed her just hours earlier, a chill threaded through her spine. The weight of the moment pressed down on her, a mixture of empowerment and trepidation swirling within. She had just shared her truth, but now she needed to confront the source of her pain directly. "Everyone, can I have your attention again?" she called out, her voice steady despite the turmoil within. The audience quieted, and the energy shifted, anticipation hanging thick in the air. "Mia, are you sure?" Natalie whispered beside her, concern etched in her features. "You don't have to do this." Mia took a deep breath, her heart pounding. "No, I need to. This isn't just about me. It's about everyone who's ever felt less than." She looked back at the passenger, who stood with arms crossed, a scowl on their face. "I want to address the hurt that comes from thoughtless words. I want to show that we can rise above it." She stepped forward, the spotlight illuminating her as she felt the audience's collective gaze upon her. "You may not know it, but your words can hurt. They can cut deep, leave scars that linger long after they're spoken. I faced that today, and it's taken me a long time to learn that I don't have to let those words define me." The room felt electric, a charged atmosphere that both thrilled and terrified her. Mia pressed on, her voice gaining strength. "But I also want to say that forgiveness is powerful. I forgive you," she directed her words toward the passenger, "not because you deserve it, but because I need to let go of the pain your words caused. Holding on to resentment only weighs me down." Silence fell, the weight of her declaration settling over the audience like a blanket. The passenger's expression flickered, uncertainty creeping into their demeanor. Mia felt a rush of power. She was taking control of her narrative. But the stakes were high. In an instant, she realized that this moment could either uplift her or plunge her into deeper despair. "What if they react angrily?" she thought, a familiar wave of self-doubt crashing over her. "What if they lash out or try to undermine my message?" But as she looked out at the audience, faces filled with empathy, solidarity, and respect, her resolve solidified. This was her moment to stand tall, to embrace the change she wanted to see. "Instead of tearing each other down," she continued, her voice unwavering, "let's build each other up. I want to invite everyone here to join me in a movement of love and acceptance. Let's combat the negativity together. Let's share our stories, support one another, and show the world that we are more than our bodies." The crowd erupted into applause again, but this time it was louder, more fervent. Mia could feel the energy surge around her, a wave of affirmation that buoyed her spirit. She turned toward Natalie, who was beaming with pride, and felt a deep connection solidify between them, a bond forged in vulnerability and shared purpose. But then, the passenger spoke, their voice cutting through the applause. "You think you can just forgive me? Like it's that easy?" The disdain dripped from their words, a challenge that sent a shiver through Mia's spine. Mia's heart raced, but she stood her ground. "Forgiveness isn't about making it easy for you. It's about freeing myself from the chains of your words. I refuse to let your negativity dictate my self-worth." The passenger's face flushed, anger bubbling just beneath the surface. "You think you're better than me now? Just because you spoke on stage?" Mia's breath hitched. This was the moment she had to decide how far she was willing to go to reclaim her narrative. She could feel the weight of judgment, not just from the passenger but from everyone in the audience. She was stepping into uncharted territory, risking ridicule and backlash. "I don't think I'm better than anyone," Mia replied, her voice steady. "I'm just choosing to love myself, to embrace my story. And you know what? I want you to find that love too. We all deserve it." The audience began to cheer again, a chorus of support that resonated in her heart. But the passenger's face twisted in anger, and for a fleeting moment, Mia felt a pang of fear. What if this confrontation turned ugly? What if her vulnerability was met with hostility? "Mia, let's not waste more time on this," Natalie urged softly, sensing the tension. "You've made your point. Let's focus on the positivity." But Mia shook her head, determined. "No, I need to see this through. This is about standing up for myself and everyone who's ever felt like they didn't belong." With a deep breath, she faced the passenger again. "I'm not asking for your approval, but I will not let your words silence me. I'm taking back my power." The audience erupted once more, their cheers blending into a powerful anthem of resilience and unity. The passenger glared at her, the anger slowly draining from their expression, replaced by something that resembled confusion. "Maybe you'll never understand how your words affected me," Mia said, her voice softening. "But I choose to forgive you, not for you but for me. And I hope one day you can find the strength to do the same." As she stepped back, the applause washed over her again, drowning out the lingering doubt she felt. The personal cost of her confrontation was evident. Her heart raced, vulnerability exposed, but she had stepped into her truth, and that felt liberating. Mia took a moment to breathe, the magnitude of her decision settling in. She had faced her fears, reclaimed her narrative, and turned a painful encounter into a powerful message of love and acceptance. The journey ahead was still uncertain, but for the first time, she felt ready to embrace it. With Natalie by her side, she looked out at the audience, a newfound determination igniting within her. Together, they were ready to build a movement, one that would turn pain into purpose, and judgment into love. It was the beginning of a new chapter, and Mia was finally ready to write it. Mia stood at the edge of the stage, the applause still echoing in her ears, but now it felt like a distant hum against the backdrop of her racing thoughts. She had just confronted her past, but in the midst of that confrontation, a deeper truth began to unfurl within her, a revelation that recontextualized everything she had experienced. As she locked eyes with the passenger who had fat-shamed her, she felt a surge of clarity wash over her. It wasn't just about the words they had spoken or the hurt they had inflicted. It was about the reflection of her own insecurities mirrored back at her. The passenger wasn't just a voice of cruelty, they were a manifestation of her internal struggle, the harsh critic she had battled for years. In that moment, the realization struck her like a lightning bolt. The greatest judgment she had faced had come not from others, but from within herself. The torment she endured had not solely been imposed by strangers, it had been fueled by her own self-doubt, her relentless pursuit of approval, and the societal expectations that had seeped into her consciousness over time. Mia took a deep breath, the weight of that truth settling into her bones. She had fought against external voices for so long, but the real battle lay in silencing her own inner critic. "I forgive you," she had said to the passenger, but now it resonated on a deeper level. She needed to forgive herself. The journey ahead wasn't just about fighting against the negativity of others. It was about embracing her own worth, understanding that she was deserving of love and acceptance, independent of her size or the judgments of others. She had spent too long allowing others to dictate her self-image, but now she was ready to reclaim her narrative, not just publicly, but within her heart.
Mia.
Natalie's voice broke through her thoughts, a gentle reminder that the moment was still unfolding. The audience continued to cheer, their support a clear signal that she was not alone in this journey. Mia turned back to the crowd, her heart swelling with newfound conviction. "I realize now that this isn't just about me or the words spoken by one person," she said, her voice ringing with clarity. "It's about all of us, how we see ourselves and how we allow others to see us. The true power lies in our ability to choose love over judgment, acceptance over shame. We can break the cycle together." As the audience erupted into applause once more, Mia felt the threads of her story weave together, forming a tapestry of resilience and unity. The passenger was no longer a figure of shame, they were a reminder of the journey she had taken, a stepping stone toward her liberation. She understood that this was the beginning of a movement, one that would not only empower her but others like her, those who had struggled with self-acceptance in a world that often sought to diminish their worth. The truth she had uncovered was profound. In forgiving the judgments of others, she had finally begun to forgive herself. And with that, she was ready to step into her power, to inspire change, and to embrace the beautiful complexity of her own story. Mia smiled through tears of joy as the audience's cheers enveloped her. This was her moment, a celebration of every struggle, every triumph, and every step forward. She was not just rewriting her narrative, she was inviting others to join her on a journey toward love, acceptance, and unapologetic self-worth. And in that, she found her ultimate truth: healing begins within, and only then can we rise together. As the applause echoed around her, Mia stood rooted on the stage, her heart swelling with a sense of belonging she had never felt before. The audience's cheers were a symphony of solidarity, a chorus that wrapped around her like a warm blanket. She had confronted her insecurities, faced her fears, and turned her pain into power. Looking out at the sea of faces, she saw not just individuals but a community, a gathering of souls who had battled their own demons, who understood the weight of judgment and the liberating strength of self-acceptance. In that moment, Mia realized that she was no longer alone. She was part of something larger, a movement that transcended body size, societal norms, and preconceived notions of worth. "Let's continue this journey together," Mia called out, her voice resonating with newfound conviction. "Let's share our stories, uplift one another, and redefine what it means to love ourselves and each other. Together, we can create a world where kindness prevails over cruelty, where acceptance reigns over judgment." The audience erupted into cheers once again, and Mia felt tears of joy welling in her eyes. She could see Natalie beaming proudly at her side, a reminder that this journey had ignited a spark of change, not just for Mia, but for countless others. As she stepped down from the stage, the warmth of the crowd enveloped her, and she knew this was only the beginning. The weight of self-doubt that had once pulled her down was now replaced with a lightness, a liberation she had long sought. In the days that followed, Mia immersed herself in her newfound mission. She shared her journey on social media, creating a platform where vulnerability met empowerment, where stories of struggle morphed into testimonials of resilience. Each post resonated with others, igniting conversations about body positivity and self-love, amplifying the voices that had long been silenced. And as she watched the community grow, Mia felt a deep sense of fulfillment. She had transformed not just her own narrative, but had sparked a ripple effect, inviting others to embrace their truths and rise together. In the quiet moments, as she reflected on her journey, Mia traced her fingertips over the sketchbook she had begun to fill with dreams and aspirations. Each page was a testament to her growth, a blend of vulnerability and strength that would propel her forward.